Yo, what's good, beautiful people? We are back at it again. Listen, I've been putting some things together, so we have a lot of great content coming up. I'm excited. Listen, if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube page. Follow me on Instagram, SelzJP, SelzJP. It's the same thing on TikTok. Listen, I need all the support. I need all the backing. We about to really take this thing going and continue to push a lot harder. And so today's topic, man, it's a fun one. I decided that, I'll kind of give a little of my 2 cents, a little SelzSpeaks on Onlyfans, right? And so for those who don't know what Onlyfans started off as a website that was geared towards teaching people. It's a website where people would go on and teach people stuff. So, if you were a cook, you would go on and do your cooking classes. You teach stuff, online courses. But then over time, and I think really during the pandemic when we got this explosion, it kind of just really shifted to mainly like I can't say it's a pornographic site. It's more of a site where people are pushing their pornographic content. And so what happened is that a lot of kind of mainly women started going to this site to become amateur porn stars in a sense, right? And it got crazy because if you're looking at the growth and the revenue of OnlyFans from when it started to what it is now, in a sense, it's blown up. And so just kind of looking at it, to me, it becomes like this indicator of society and where women are at and where men are at and like kind of what's going on. And what really became interesting is how you start to see how people respond to adversity. What happens when the desperation of people starts to increase in relation to their morals and their values, right? How when the short term of what's going on in people's life, they're more willing to sacrifice their long term. And so what happens is you have teachers, mothers, single women, married women even, who are going onto this website. They're uploading, nude videos, nude pictures of themselves, and they're pushing this stuff out. And I'm not, and I make a quick disclaimer, I'm not lying about it. This is not content that I'm consuming. It's common knowledge that this is what it is. You kind of see stories in the news about this teacher was doing it and then her students found out, these two people were married and the husband ends up finding out. I've heard even crazier stories of like fathers going on the website and not even knowing that they're subscribing to their own daughter's stuff. So it's kind of everywhere. So you don't have to consume the content to know what's going on. It's just one of those things where if you got an ear to, I guess, the streets, you'll know. But what makes it so interesting is that it's I'll put it to you this way. I'll first address the part of it that I think like there's something to learn from it, and not to say like it's a good thing. In my opinion, I don't think it's a good thing, right? Everybody's welcome to have their own opinions, and it's just my opinion. In my opinion, I don't think it's a good thing, but like, I feel like in a sense, you gotta respect the hustle. And what I mean by the hustle is the way that these content creators push their content, the way that they are in like every post commenting and like giving harmless comments that you would never think it's them. It's like, you'll watch like a viral basketball dunk and if someone will comment like, oh, wow, that was a crazy dunk. And then if you go and click on a profile, oh, check out my links and da-da-da. And it tries to lead you into their stuff. And it's like, yo, it's everywhere. And I feel like in a sense for people who have their own content or their own business, that's something that you can kind of pull from that. Like, being that proactive where like on every post you commenting and on every, viral this, you kind of putting your 2 cents in a way to draw people to your content. But obviously, I hope you're not trying to draw people to, the wrong content, whatever business, courses, or things that you're selling, move that way. But honestly, like it really brings me back to this understanding of how people balance their desperation with their morals, right? I had talked about that once and I was saying that when you're not desperate, when you're not in a situation where you're struggling and everything is falling apart, it's easy to keep your morals high, right? Meaning that when all your bills are paid, you're financially comfortable, you're in a great position. Why would you jeopardize your lifestyle by doing something that you can get in trouble for? If you're making good, clean money and you have no issues, there's no reason to even consider making money in illegal or risky ways because you're good. Like, it's not necessary. So in essence, you see that people who are financially well or just in a great, comfortable situation tend to not feel like they need to lower their morals. And sometimes when you're too comfortable, you tend to be a little too, you tend to see yourself as superiorly moral, right? It's like, when life is going good, you're looking at other people doing certain things. You're like, oh, I'd never do that. I could never see myself moving in this way. Oh, I'd never, you'd never. But that's more so because you're not in the position where you even need to consider to do that. However, what I see is that with the pandemic, desperation amongst a lot of people increased. A lot of people have not been able to pay their bills. People with great jobs have been struggling. It's been a struggle. You talking about inflation, you're talking about coming off a pandemic, stress is high, financial burdens are high. It's crazy everywhere. You go to groceries that used to cost you $100 is running you almost $300 now. So people are in need more than they ever have been before. And so now what's happening is, as desperation has increased, morality has lowered. Like, people's morals have lowered. So where before a woman with a family would say, I would never expose myself on the internet, I would never sell my body for money, it's like now she's looking at a mortgage that she can't pay. She's looking at 2 kids that she can't feed. And her answer becomes, well, you know what? If I can go and push this content, it becomes a means to an end. It's like, I don't have the luxury now to be moral. I want to take the high road and not push, pornographic content. But if pornographic content is going to get my bills paid and take care of my family, that's just what I'm going to have to do. And so in doing what I need to do, we've seen this explosion of, mainly women. Men do it too, but it's primarily women, or I guess you could say stereotypically women, who are really pushing this platform and selling their bodies and selling, pornographic content. And it's an explosion of it. And I think the biggest problem is that when you start to live in a place where you want to fix your short-term issues at the cost of your long-term life, in a sense, it's like you're going to run into big problems. So like the stories now are starting to come out about young kids who are in school, who their friends now find their parent, that kid's parent, mother, on Onlyfans. And now they're teasing him to the point where the kid wants to commit suicide. And I heard someone say, like, my kid could cry in the Toyota or he could cry in a Lamborghini. And I think when we make statements like that, we completely miss the point of the human soul, the human heart. Like, at the core of people, it is not the material that makes things right. There's many people who would give up the millions that they have in life for peace. And I feel like if we as a society keep moving in a direction where it's like we'll do any and everything for money and we'll give up any and everything for money, you start to lose your actual true happiness, because now you end up in a place where you've had more money than you've ever had. Okay, you're far more capable than you've ever been, and yet you're miserable. I've been in a position in life where I've had more than I ever had, and I was far more comfortable than I'd ever been comfortable. And it didn't fix all of my relationships. It didn't fix the things that mattered to me in life. It just meant I could pay my bills easier. I wasn't worried about paying bills. It was just, it was fine. And I think, like, people who've never experienced that, being able to pay your bills with ease, having all of your needs provided for to the point where you can start to do little extra things and much nicer things. Like, if you've never experienced that, you always see that side. Like, it looks like the grass is greener on the other side. And don't get me wrong, like, there is an aspect of being able to, being financially comfortable. That's great. But the thing that people, and I think society just keeps trying to ignore, is that the most important thing in life is your relationships. It's the people around you. It's the people that love you. It's the people that you take care of. That is literally the most important thing, because your money doesn't go with you. Your reputation lives on forever. And so if all that you have to say when you look back in life is, well, you know what? I did whatever I had to do to provide for my kids. And yeah, my kids are ashamed of me, and they think the things that I did were ugly and stuff like that. It's like, you gotta really start asking yourself, like, to what extent is your means to an end? Because if you provide for your kids, but your kids want nothing to do with you, then what did you really achieve? And I understand, again, when the desperation is high. And trust me when I tell you, I understand. Because I have friends who are like, I'm struggling, and I said I wouldn't do certain things, and I think I gotta do certain things now. And it's not even like, pornographic stuff. It's other stuff. And so I get it. Like, I understand that when the desperation is high, people will really like throw their morality out the door. I understand that. And I think that becomes the advantage of a person whose faith is rooted in God, right? Because when your faith is rooted in God, and it's true faith, it doesn't matter what's going on in your life. It doesn't matter what's happening. It doesn't matter how bad it gets. Your foundation in God is not shaken. And so what happens is that no matter how desperate you start to feel, you'll never get too desperate, because you truly believe that God will come through for you. And the reality is, God will come through for you. And so when you get to that point where it's like, I can trust in God, or I can scam, or I can trust in God, or I could start an Onlyfans. The person who has their faith truly rooted in God is not going to go in those directions, because they know, I don't need to compromise my character. I don't need to compromise my reputation. I don't need to compromise my future for a quick buck to provide for myself, because I believe that God will provide all of my needs. And I also believe that my gift will make room for me. And just to make it clear, like, your gift is not you selling your body. That's not your gift. That's you just exploiting your temple, in essence. And it's not to come off churchy or preachy, but it's like, these things have consequences. It affects your relationships. When you start to think to yourself, okay, maybe at one point now I want to get married, I want to have children, like, everything that you do on the internet lives forever. It lives forever. So it's like, you will have to take accountability for what you've done. And it doesn't mean you can't be with anybody. Like, hey, you'll probably find someone who it doesn't matter, or, they didn't care. But it's like, if you have children, if you have people that you care about, like, it affects them. And you have to just start asking yourself, like, am I willing to just do anything for $1? Like, no matter what it is, as for money, I will do anything. Because that is what, when you're talking about what it says, the love of money is the root of all evil. That's it. You love money so much that you will not love yourself by selling yourself. A person can argue, of course I love myself. That's why I work hard, and that's why I do this, and I'm okay with it, and da. And I understand that's the agenda that the society tries to push. But the reality is that you can't love yourself if you're just selling yourself for $5.99 or $10.99 a month. That's not love. If you view yourself as priceless, if you view yourself as valuable, you're not giving yourself away to everyone. And again, it's not I wouldn't want to come off on some moral high ground, but I think it just becomes so important, because you have the culture is just pushing this so hard, and I don't feel like anybody really, I don't know if it's courage, maybe they don't even care, but no one kind of just says anything. And I just felt like, we just can't get to a place where our desperation starts to override our moralities, because if that's the case, once you can do it with one thing, you can do it with a bunch. You can do it with a whole bunch of other things. And it's like you just slowly start to see yourself erode as a person. So really, this is to the person right now who is going through a tough time, who doesn't know how to provide, and you see a lot of the wrong ways to provide. And I guarantee you that if you could just take a second and take inventory of the things that you do well, take inventory of the things that you like to do, take inventory of the things that you're good at, the things that you enjoy, the things that when you do it, time just flies. Whether that is video games, whether that is photography, whether that is cooking, whether that is helping people fix computers, whatever that is, like whatever it is that you enjoy that makes time fly. Get good at it. Get better at it. Okay. Continue to refine yourself, but also showcase it. So if you are great at putting computers together, start to show and promote on your platforms that you put computers together. If you are amazing at babysitting kids, show, right, that you take care of kids and they have a great time and you are a highly reviewed babysitter. If you love detailing cars, show your work to the world. And the world, when it's good, if it's good, they'll come to you. And then now, okay, once you have the skill and the talent, just add that now with business sense. You know what I mean? Know how to know what you should charge. Be a little organized, be disciplined, have your systems, know how to protect yourself if you need to move forward in contracts, etc., etc. And I promise you, if you follow that system and you rinse and repeat, you do what you love, do what you're good at, you showcase it, you continue to get better, you also develop your business acumen. If you do that, whatever it is that you do, you're going to get better at it. If you look at a lot of people who we say blew up, right? They did the same thing. You see singers, they kept singing. They would do duets with other people's videos. They would showcase themselves singing songs, doing covers, and they were consistent and they just kept on doing it again and again and again. And then as they kept showcasing it, their following started to grow. Then you build a business acumen. You have an email where people can reach out to you. People actually do work. You do it timely. You do it well. And then you showcase that work. And then it starts to pile. It starts to build. It starts to build. And then all of a sudden you blow up, not really blowing up. You've been consistent this whole time. But now in one moment now, it's like you go from 1,000 or 2,000 people know who you are to 20,000 people. And if you continue to keep the same process, right, it continues to go. Like Keith Lee, for example, the man reviews food. He's been doing that and he just kept doing it, kept staying consistent, and he refined his process. He refined his videos. He got better at it. He got better at how he promoted and how he pushed out his content, and he blew up, and he continues to blow up even more to the point where now it's to some people he's controversial, to some people he's the greatest, which is what happens when you reach a certain level. Like people gonna love you, people gonna hate you, and people just gonna be in the middle. Just as what it is. But yet, you don't have to sell yourself or do something that is morally gray in order to make $1. And so, like, yes, I understand that some people see, but they making this and this amount of money a week, this and this money amount a month. Like, it's crazy. It's insane. I would joke about my friends, like, I'll do it for a month. And then after that, I'll quit and ask for forgiveness. And it's 100% a joke. I'm not going to do no stuff like that. But like, the reality is, it's like, you don't have to go in that direction. You know what I mean? If anything, take what you can from it, in the sense of like the aggression in which they push their content, the aggression in which they try to get you to come to their page and to subscribe to their stuff. And they're on take that aspect of it, the marketing of it, and just use it on your piano course, use it on your workout course, use it on your, helping people teach their kids, smart things at a young age. Whatever it is that you do, like, use it in that sense. But like, don't allow desperation to override your morals. I mean, if there's anything that you really get from this, I just want to leave you with, listen, no matter how bad it gets, don't get to a place where you feel like you have to sell who you are. You have to sell your soul for $1. Like, don't do that, because there are repercussions. There are consequences. And you'll feel so much better about yourself if you stick to who you are and you maintain who you are, and you make it that way. Like if you are kind and if you have always been led by a moral code and you've always, respected yourself, then stick to that and make it and fix your situation by staying true to who you are. But if you feel like you have to turn against who you are, turn against who you've always loved yourself to be, just to get ahead a couple bills, it ain't worth it. Because once you get the money, you can still be miserable. That's the part people understand. Like, money does not give you happiness. It helps. It helps problems. Sure, it helps financial problems. Make it very clear. Money helps financial problems. It doesn't fix the other stuff that matters, because relationship problems matter way more than financial problems. It's like, it's easy to say that when you can pay your mortgage. All right, well, if you can't pay your mortgage, but you have great relationships, the people around you will help you, support you, lift you up. But if you alienate everybody that you love and you sell yourself out, then it's like, okay, well, if all you have is money, you ain't got nothing else. And especially if you sold yourself out to make $1. So it's not going to be a long one. I just really, kind of wanted to put that out there. Like, I see this explosion of it, and then it's like, it almost seems like everybody's doing it. And it's like, you don't need to go that route. You know what I mean? Especially if you have faith in God. Like, God is never going to give you a green light to go and push pornographic content. Like, that is not in line with anything that he teaches. It's not in line with anything in the Bible. That is not the character of God to endorse your OnlyFans. Not at all. But it is in line. Well, it would be in line that in all your ways, you acknowledge God and you allow him to direct thy path. So if you're struggling out there, acknowledge God and ask him what the direction is next. Or look at the things that you have, the skills and abilities that you have, the things that you love doing. Get better at those things and then promote those things, showcase those things. And if you continue to rinse and repeat, do it, promote it, get better at it. Do it, promote it, get better at it. You will grow. We will grow. It's going to take time. It's going to take consistency. It's going to take discipline. But the process will mold you into the person that you need to be to handle the success that's coming your way. So I hope y'all got something out of this. I love you guys. It's been another great episode of SelzSpeaks. More to come. If you haven't already, like, subscribe. Peace out. Love y'all.